What's up, guys? It is RGT85. We have a lot of news to talk about today, so we're just going to jump right into it. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to like and share the video. But without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games, and we're going to start things off with Mario Golf Super Rush. Now, you might remember when this game initially came out, I made a video on it because I was a little bit disappointed with it. I thought it was a game that had a ton of potential, a game that could achieve greatness, but much like Mario Tennis Power Aces was, it just felt like there was a lack of content when you booted up the game for the first time and just saw the limited amount of courses. The characters were decent, but it was like, as you're playing through the adventure mode of the game, you're seeing characters and it's like, okay, this is obviously going to be added in content that will be added down the road for free by Nintendo. Well, Nintendo actually announced their first content update for Mario Golf Super Rush this morning, and we got some details about what's going to happen. It'll actually be launching later on today. We might be checking it out on the live channel tonight, so if you're not subscribed to RGT Live, make sure you guys go ahead and do that. I'll have a link to it in the description box down below, and maybe we'll check this out. But essentially, what this update includes is Toadette. And when I see Toadette as the character that's being added, it really just makes me angry, because if you go back to my Mario Golf Super Rush video, I was like, why the hell is Toadette not included in the game? It's obvious they already have her character model done. She's in the adventure mode of the game. Why can you not play as her? So it's like, did they hold back content for this game? I mean, I will let you draw your own conclusion with that, but for me personally, I think the answer is pretty clear. But yes, Toadette will be added into the game. They're also adding in a new mode to the game, which is ranked match for online play. Now that's pretty cool, honestly. You know, I think you'll have a lot of fun with that. That really expands upon playing the game online. It sort of gives you a purpose to play the game online. And of course, we're getting a new course with New Donk City. And if you guys know anything about me, I'm a huge fan of New Donk City from Super Mario Odyssey. It's literally my favorite Mario level of all time. So this is very exciting for me. Of course, we learned that this was going to be a new course that was added into the game during Nintendo's E3 presentation. So it's nice to see this actually come out in a very timely manner. And supposedly they're also improving motion controls for Mario Golf Super Rush as well. I never really checked them out beyond just seeing if they sort of worked. I'm more of a button related control player, so it wasn't really something that was attractive to me. But all of this will be included in a free update for Mario Golf Super Rush that is coming out, like I said, today on August 5th, later on in the day. So it's kind of interesting that a free update is coming around, you know, a little over a month after the game releases, and is including a new character and a new course. You could definitely make the argument that this content was a bit held back. You could also make the argument that Nintendo is kind of stagnating their physical sales of their games for collectors, because if somebody buys a physical version of the game, they're sort of expecting to get a majority of the game on that cartridge. When you're adding in free content updates, you're obviously sort of expanding upon the game, but when you do that in such a quick turnaround from the initial release date of the game, it kind of discourages people who like to collect physical games, because you're not getting the full version of the game available on the cartridge. You can make a lot of different debates on it. I guess at the end of the day, it is good that we are getting a free content update for this game. It's definitely a game that needs it, and I'll be interested to see what other sort of courses they add to this game. Obviously, a New Donk City course is very different than all the other courses that are included in the base game, so I hope they go in this sort of crazy direction when adding in new courses. Like I said, I probably will be checking this out tonight on the live channel, RGT Live. I'll have a link to that in the description box down below. Make sure you guys subscribe to that channel. Looking at about 8 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully that update is available by the time I go live on there. But yeah, it's definitely great to see more content being added into this game, because I definitely feel like it needs it, but it does sort of feel like this content was held back from the original release of the game. Next up, a game that I was really looking forward to playing this holiday season has been delayed until 2022, February of 2022 to be exact, and honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed. I really wanted to play this game, and the game in question is the Evil Dead game. Now, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Friday the 13th game. I love horror movies. I love older horror movies as well, so I've been enjoying this sort of resurgence of games based on old horror movies that we've seen coming out, and Evil Dead, the game, honestly looked a lot like Friday the 13th, but kind of with more to do. Yes, there's also elements of Dead by Daylight in the game as well. It just looked really cool. Different scenes from different Evil Dead movies. The characters characters themselves looked really cool. I thought the gameplay loop was really interesting, where one character is sort of like this big demon character that could take out other people and possess other people. It has a lot of gameplay potential. But like I said, the game has been delayed until February 2022, and the development team put out the following statement. Hey groovy gamers, we're targeting a new release date to give the team some extra time for polish and to ensure that this is the ultimate Evil Dead experience you've all been waiting for. The additional time is also allowing us to implement a single player option that will let you enjoy the game when you are without your co-op compadres. We want to thank everyone for understanding and support, and please stay tuned for more information about new character updates, pre-order availability, and the next gameplay video featuring Bruce Campbell. So it's kind of weird that they're now just sort of implementing a single player experience into this game, but for me personally, I think that's a good thing. You know, one of the areas that Friday the 13th definitely lacked in was the single player stuff. There were some missions that you could do that had you doing like essentially different kills at different time points. It was pretty fun, but beyond that, you know, once you did them, it was kind of like you did them and there wasn't really much reason to go back and check it out. So I am all for a more expanded upon single player experience. There will be times when you're not online, maybe especially if you're playing the Nintendo Switch game, maybe you're out somewhere wanting to play the Evil Dead and want to play a single player type of experience with this game. So I am cool with that. I am a little bit concerned that they're just now putting it in, but you know, at the end of the day, as long as they're putting it in, I am cool with it. But yes, this game will now be releasing in February of 2022, a little bit longer of a wait, but when you think about it, 2022 is quickly becoming very, very expensive for video games. So I am sort of looking forward to that. And finally, you guys know I love sales and data figures, and Nintendo just released their first quarter fiscal year of 2022, which consists of April through June of 2021 report, and we got some updates on game sales, system sales, and something very interesting when it comes to update game releases as well, so I want to go over it with you guys. To kick things off, we're going to talk about game sales during that period of time from April through June of 2021. Now, new Pokemon Snap, of course, came out around that time, and it has sold over 2.07 million units, which I think is pretty impressive. It's essentially an on-rails game where you're just like taking pictures of stuff, so it's nice to see that people accepted this game. As a fan of the original game, I definitely enjoyed this game. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold another 1.69 million units during this time frame. That's just absolutely insane. I don't think that game will ever stop selling until Mario Kart 9 comes out, and who knows when that's actually going to happen. The aforementioned Mario Golf Super Rush sold 1.34 million units in that time frame. Of course, this game came out later in the month of June, so I still think that's very impressive. And once again, Animal Crossing New Horizons, another game that won't stop selling, sold 1.26 million units during that time frame. So now you have a lot more games that are being added into the million sellers club for the Nintendo Switch. Now, as far as how the games were being purchased via physical versus digital sales were actually down substantially versus last year, but you got to factor in the whole COVID situation. You know, the world was kind of in a lockdown. Really, the only way to get some of these games was, of course, to download these games. So I don't think that's a big surprise, and that's coming from someone who prefers physical games. You know, some people I feel are going to run with this narrative like, oh, look, people aren't buying digital games anymore. It's like, okay, come on. Let's be realistic here. Let's use our noodle when it comes to talking about this stuff. Nintendo also talked about the Nintendo Switch OLED when talking about hardware sales, which we're going to get into in just a moment, saying that recently we announced a new Nintendo Switch model with an OLED display that will launch on October 8th, 2021. By adding Nintendo Switch OLED model to the Nintendo Switch family, which already includes the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Lite, we would like to provide consumers with another option so they can choose the model that best suits their preferences and lifestyles. This is the 5th year since the launch of the platform, and we continue our efforts to introduce even more people to the Nintendo Switch. So Nintendo is definitely running with this whole, you know, family of consoles narrative, an ecosystem, I guess you could say, of different Nintendo Switch models. And looking at the different models that we've gotten so far, the Switch Lite and the Switch OLED, they've definitely been more geared towards the portable audience. It's like, Nintendo, you know, this is a hybrid system. A lot of people play this console at home. We really do want something that does sort of prioritize the home console side of it more so than the portable side of it, because those portable options are now available. You're constantly releasing these portable options. Why not give the home console side of this some love? And I do think it's something we will see in the future, but we're not going to talk about any Nintendo Switch Pro or revision stuff in this video. And then we have system sales in general, the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Lite combined have sold 89.4 million units as of the end of June of 2021, which means it has now outsold the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. The PlayStation 3 sold 87.4 million units during its life cycle. The Xbox 360 sold 84 million units during its life cycle. And it's kind of interesting when you think about the Xbox 360, because let's be realistic, you probably didn't buy just one Xbox 360 because you got the red ring of death and you had to buy another. I know I bought at least 3 new Xbox 360s during its heyday because of the fact that I kept getting red rings of death on my Xbox 360. So that's definitely a very interesting statistic. We are nowhere near the end of the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, according to Nintendo themselves. We're really just at the halfway point. So when will it hit 100 million units sold? I think it's definitely going to hit it this year. You know, another 10 million units between June and December, like that's sort of, you know, going to happen, especially with the OLED introduction. I'm sure OLED pre-order numbers are very high because people are trying to scalp them as well. But Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, they don't care who buys their systems as long as people are buying their systems, because that puts the money in their pocket. That gives them more data to sell to other companies when talking about their hardware sales, because it inflates the numbers. And whether it inflates the numbers in a positive way or a negative way in the eyes of consumers, it doesn't matter as long as the numbers are high. And the final thing I want to talk about with this information is the upcoming game schedule for the Nintendo Switch for the rest of 2021, because I think there's something kind of interesting on this. So looking over this list, you can see that we have the Japan region, the United States, and the Europe region. And of course, all of these games are games we already know about. Pokemon Arceus, the upcoming Pokemon games, Mario Party Superstars, Metroid Dread, WarioWare. We know these games are coming out and they're all coming out on the same day. But if you look at the Japan side of things, there's actually a game that's missing. And I don't know if this is just an error. I can't imagine it's an error, because I mean, it would be something that, you know, you think Nintendo would want to talk about, but that is Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. Now we can see that it's coming out in the United States on December 3rd. We see that it's coming out in Europe on December 3rd as well. But when we go over to the other side of things, when we go over to the Japan side of things, this game is actually not listed at all. Now there is something interesting with this. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is listed under the European region only. There is no listing for the US or Japan with this, and we already know that game is coming out there. But I do think it's weird that Advance Wars is mentioned for the United States and Europe, but not mentioned for Japan. It seems like it might be an oversight, or it might not be a game that's coming out there, which I don't know. That would be absolutely bizarre to me. Whoever made this sort of chart here really needs to get their shit together, though, because there's a lot of questions that this springs up. And when you are someone who likes to speculate on video game news, I mean, there's a lot of speculation to have here. Why isn't Shin Megami Tensei 5 listed for the United States and Japan? Why is Advance Wars only listed for the United States and Europe? Is it coming out in Japan? Is it not coming out in Japan? This person needs to be fired, because this person is an idiot, whoever made this list. But yeah, some interesting things on here. You know, we pretty much already know about this stuff. It is nice to see, you know, that Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4 still do exist, at least in some way, shape, or form via this information. But maybe they're lying about that too. Maybe this person who made this chart is just an idiot and put Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3 on there, and they're not actually going to come out on the Nintendo Switch. That would be fun. That would be fun. Alrighty, so that is going to do it for today's video. Obviously a lot of stuff to go over, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. Yes, I saw Julius Randle just signed an extension with the Knicks, and people are bitching about this, and you know what? You're an idiot, especially if you're a Knicks fan. The man got less than John Collins on the Hawks did, and John Collins might be a little bit younger and might be a little bit more athletic, but John Collins would disappear for stretches of games and be like completely gone, like just completely gone. Whereas Julius Randle was always giving you something out on the court. So the man got less than a max extension. The man got less than John Collins did. I am completely cool with this signing, and go Knicks. We're going to be a force in the East again this year. Don't sleep on us. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like and share the video as well. Check out the RGT Live channel. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.